Well, this morning, Governor Rick Scott is back in Florida. He just returned from a trip to South America that he says will help bring jobs here. We caught up with the Winter Park businesswoman who traveled to Colombia with the governor. She's confident the trade mission will help her business grow.
Networking with the people from the state of Florida, I think I have pretty good chances to get more customers.
The governor and his staff traveled courtesy of Enterprise Florida, in part with help from a federal grant, which is public money. One group, Florida Watchdog, which tracks government accountability, calls the trade missions paid tickets for business owners, lobbyists, and other politicians to schmooze with the governor. Well, now we're going to send things over to Jason Guy, who was live with the governor this morning.
All right. Thank you, Meredith. And Governor Rick Scott joining us live here in studio this morning. And we want to say, Governor, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Let's talk about this. This is a 7th trade mission that you've been on this week's trip to Colombia. There has been some criticism. How do you respond to it? And how many jobs will be created as a result of a trip like this?
Sure. First off, Fantasyland was really nice. My wife and I went there last night when we got off the plane from Colombia. But here's what we're doing. We are building jobs for Florida. The way you do it is you go build relationships. So we had about 200 people go with us. We went to Bogota. Some are staying a little longer, but you're building relationships with all these companies. We met with the president. We met with the ambassador. We have a U.S. Commercial Service. Over 250 meetings that were set up. So it's going to be great. This is my 7th trade delegation. Some of the things that have happened from some of the past ones is one, Embraer's expanding based on our trip to Brazil last October, a year ago, October. I met with U.S. Technologies, which owns Pratt & Whitney. They're adding 230 jobs in Palm Beach. So once you start with all these, you just build relationships.
All right, so you respond to a group like Florida Watchdog saying business people, politicians, lobbyists pay to join in on these missions, and they question if this gives someone special access to you, Governor.
Well, look, my job is to build jobs. That's all I think about. I have 3 jobs. I want to make sure your family can get a job, make sure your child can get a great education, and keep the cost of living low. Let's think of what's happened. In 2 years, the 4 prior years, the state had lost 825,000 jobs. Unemployment had gone from 3.5 to 11.1. In less than 2 years, we've generated private business 175,000 jobs. Unemployment has had the biggest drop in the country. So all these things do work.
Well, let's talk about unemployment. The rate at 8.5%, tied for 37th in the nation. Are you satisfied with Florida's recovery in a number like that?
Well, we're heading in the right direction, but gosh, I'd like everybody that wants a job have a job. But shoot, we've had the biggest drop in unemployment, from 11.1 down to 8.5, way faster than what's happened in the national numbers. 175,000 private sector jobs. So look, we're on the right track, but I won't be done until everybody that wants a job has one.
All right, and let's talk about education. It's on everyone's mind this morning. Parents getting their kids ready to head out the door. Funding cut K through 12, $1.3 billion in 2011. Funding cut $300 million this year from state universities. There is some restoring for kindergarten through 12th grade funding, but budget still cut, so that we're talking about the state looking at a budget surplus next year. Will that go toward education and spending toward helping kids in schools?
Well, let's remember what actually happened. My first year, we had a $3.7 billion budget deficit. We kept state funding flat. Federal government cut $1.3 billion. The state didn't. In my second year,
but there were cuts, you would argue, for schools and for education.
Federal government cut funding. The state didn't. Your tax dollars went to schools. Second year, we increased funding by $1 billion. Now we're hoping that we'll have a surplus next year. And what I'm committed,
where will that go?
It's going to go to education, because look, let's remember what our families want. That's my priorities. They want a job, they want education for their child, and they want to keep the cost of living low. So when I try to allocate your tax dollars, these are your dollars. It's not like there's no free money out here. My job is to say, what are your priorities? They're my priorities.
All right, Governor Rick Scott, we appreciate you joining us here. One last thing on a personal note, we want to wish you a happy birthday. We know you were celebrating this weekend, and his wife Ann joined us in studio this morning. We appreciate you, Governor. Thank you so much.
Nice to be here.
All right, thank you. And let's turn over now.